This is music, and this is, as always, a tea kind of morning. Congratulations to Roberts on My Turntable on 4 years in the vinyl community. Great channel. Check it out, especially if you love classic rock. So he is celebrating his 4 years in the vinyl community with a fun contest. The theme is, of course, 4. It's pretty straightforward. Pick 4 of your favorite bands, then show the 4th albums and talk about them, and keep the video under 8 minutes. So let's get down to business. So first, Death, one of my favorite bands of all time since I heard Symbolic for the first time back in the late 90s. Death, a very important death metal band. Some people say they invented death metal. Some people say they certainly played an important role in inventing death metal. Human is the 4th album, and it's the beginning of my favorite era of Death, the progressive years. Before that, they were more like straight up death metal, and those albums are fantastic too. But I prefer the more progressive stuff for some reason. And on this album is where that started. So this is kind of a transition album. You have your Morris sound guitar tone, you have your more brutal death metal riffs and all that stuff, and Chuck Schuldiner's vocals are more guttural and less screechy. They will become screechy later on. But you do have the progressive elements. The songs are a bit more complex in terms of production. You have some kind of technical playing sneaking its way into some of the guitar solos. You have some melody as well. So I think this is a very important album in the evolution of Death. It's not my favorite album by them, that's Symbolic, but this is an album I enjoy a lot. Okay, so Death, one of my favorite bands of all time. My favorite band of all time is Iron Maiden. So of course, I'm going to show Peace of Mind. A fantastic album, the introduction of Nico McBride on drums. I have no preference between him and Clive Burr. They are very different types of drummers, so you are allowed to like them both equally. You've got lots of classics on here. You have some interesting deep cuts too. You have To Tame a Land, the epic song. The guitar tone is strangely dry, but that just means, just like And Justice for All, the wonky production on here has become iconic. You have the legendary drum intro in the first song, introducing Nico McBride to the Iron Maiden fan base. Just an amazing album, a fantastic album, a heavy metal masterpiece. I'm a bit biased because to me, any Iron Maiden album from and including the debut up until and including, and I know this is a hot take, No Prayer for the Dying, they're all masterpieces to me. Up next, some hard rock. A band they became one of my favorite bands. I started getting really deep into them only 20 years ago, so obviously I'm late to that party, but that's Rainbow, and this is their 4th album, Down to Earth. Very different from the Dio albums, but there are some of the heavier elements that you also hear on the Dio albums. They are here, like In the Eyes of the World, for example. That's a bit of a heavy song, but you also have, Since You've Been Gone. You have some more lighthearted songs, and the commercial character that would characterize their subsequent albums has kind of started to sneak its way in on this album. But I love this album anyhow because it's so uplifting, and this is the only album featuring Graham Bonnet on vocals, and he does a fantastic job. So it's my favorite album by Rainbow. I don't know actually, because their albums sound quite different from one another. I mean, you can lump them into different categories, of course, but those categories sound different from one another, but they still have kind of some things in common. So it's hard for me to compare them. So I've decided I like all Rainbow albums equally. They just have different things to offer. And the fourth and last band, a very important band to me in my formative years, and I still love their 80s and early 90s output. That is the German heavy metal / power metal band Running Wild. So their fourth album is Port Royal, and this is their second pirate themed album. Their two first albums were kind of more Satanism themed, and I like those albums too. They are entertaining. There's some good music on there for sure, but I prefer the pirate era just because pirates are, I guess, more fun than Satan. I don't know. In any case, Port Royal, the follow-up album to Under Jolly Roger, and this is a fantastic album. It has a hilarious introduction, and then it kicks into Port Royal. It's just a high-quality heavy metal song with some power metal elements, and then, takes you on a journey through the Running Wild universe, pirate songs, individual freedom songs, Native American themed songs. I think there are some of those on here too. Rolf Kasparek or Rockin' Rolf's or Captain Rolf's favorite topics. And it sounds like a Running Wild album because that's what it is. And it's the epitome of awesome Running Wild stuff. And I would say from Under Jolly Roger on, and including this one, of course, and up until and including certainly Pile of Skulls, but probably also the one that came after Pile of Skulls. I can't remember that the title of that album, because Pile of Skulls was kind of the last album I kind of got deep into by Running Wild back in the day. Subsequently, I've explored, more of their stuff, but my favorite era is still 80s, early 90s. So there you go. Four fourth albums by four of my favorite bands in less than 8 minutes. Congratulations again to Roberts on My Turntable on 4 years in the vinyl community. And of course, congratulations to the vinyl community on 4 years with Robert. So do check out his channel. Thanks for watching.